Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar, where we get to sit down and talk with interesting professional guitar players and related music industry experts. If you love playing guitar, stick around. You're in the right place. Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber from Everyone Loves Guitar, and I am here with a living legend.
Oh, come on.
All right, a really good guitar player who's like legendary. I'm here with Adam Shoenfeld, and if you don't recognize his name, don't worry, because he's had a huge behind-the-scenes impact on modern country music as a guitarist, songwriter, and a producer. With the crunchy, loud, and proud opening notes of his lead guitar on Big and Rich's Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, and the edgy, aggressive tone heard on Jason Aldean's breakout smash Hicktown, Adam blazed a trail for a wave of hard rock influenced country that changed the genre forever, and he hasn't looked back since. Born in Huntington, New York, and raised in New Jersey, everything was good until you went to... Who moves to New Jersey? With a love of jazz, blues, rock, and heavy metal. Adam came to Nashville at the age of 19. He began working as an in-house musician at Woodland Studios. There he met Big Kenny Alfin and later John Rich, and he went on to become a member of the infamous music and art collective known as the Music Mafia, and he also became Rich's go-to studio guitarist, laying down demos for soon-to-be groundbreaking songs like Gretchen Wilson's Redneck Woman. With the formation of Big and Rich in 2003, Shoenfeld was invited to play guitar on the duo's debut album, Horse of a Different Color, including the multi-platinum single, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. The song ditched familiar country sounds in favor of Adam's brash, live-oriented feel, and he helped open the floodgates in country's new era of crossover success. He has since played on every Big and Rich album and toured with the group from 2005 to 2007 and 2009. Around the same time Big and Rich was getting started, Adam became a member of Jason Aldean's showcase band, hoping to score the rock-loving Georgia native a record deal. Once Aldean was signed, Adam stayed on to develop the superstar's muscular sound and provided the chugging down and dirty lead on Aldean's debut single, Hicktown, which went on to become a top 10 hit and earn platinum sales status. Shoenfeld has been featured on every subsequent Aldean release. Following the success of Big Rich and Aldean, Adam's unique sound made him an in-demand studio guitarist, and he's now played on over 200 albums, including, check this out, titles by Luke Bryan, Keith Urban, Steven Tyler, Blake Shelton, Florida Georgia Line, Jake Owen, Thomas Rhett, Alabama, Tim McGraw, Lee Brice, Rascal Flatts, and many more. His work has led to nominations for the Academy of Country Music's Guitarist of the Year Award in 2011, 2012, and 2015. As a songwriter, Adam was also awarded CSAC. That's the second oldest performance rights organization in the country. They basically track royalties and songs. Is that correct for musicians?
Yes.
He was awarded
right.
CSAC's Song of the Year honor for Faith Hill's Mississippi Girl in 2005, and he's also the co-writer of Big and Rich songs Real World, High Five, When the Devil Gets the Best of Me, and Medley of the Hillbilly Jedi. Sorry about that. Plus Jason Aldean's...
Medley of the Hillbilly Jedi.
Medley of the Hillbilly Jedi. Plus Aldean's Laid Back. As a producer, he's guided projects for John Rich, the Rich Rocks Project, Sarah Darling, Angels and Devils, Kelsey Harmon, One Big Favor, and Lovejoy, Volume 2. In 2012, Adam joined Tim McGraw's touring band and currently travels with the group when he's not in the studio. He's currently on tour with what might be the biggest or most popular act in country music now, the Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in their Soul to Soul World Tour. If you have never heard Adam play, check him out online. He's all over YouTube. That's Adam Shoenfeld, Shoenfeld. He's a badass. He adds a very tasty rough edge to conventional country music. He's an overall great guitar player, and he's got the biggest set of guns I've interviewed in Nashville. There you go, man. What's up? Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
Not much, man. How are you?
I am good.
Who told you all that crap?
What's that?
Who told you all that crap? Not true. None of that is true.
Drivel on the internet. Don't believe everything you read.
Thanks for having me, dude.
No, man. Thank you. Hey, so let's get this out of the way. It's disturbing, actually. You grew up on Long Island, then you moved to Jersey. What was the deal with that?
I was 3, dude.
Oh, okay.
That was my dad's call.
Dad's call.
You know, it was the country. We wanted to be close to the city, but in the country. You know, we were an hour and a half from New York, and you know where they filmed Friday the 13th? That's where I grew up.
Oh, really?
If you see that movie, that diner, those roads, the lake, everything.
What was the name of the town?
Blairstown, New Jersey.
Very cool. Is that South Jersey?
Northwest.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, so I have to. Oh, so you didn't listen to WBAB?
No. I'd never
You didn't
heard.
grow up there. Oh,
Nope.
man.
Fingers
Metal Shop. It was so awesome. It was like every other week they'd play like all heavy metal. You know, back in the day, heavy metal like wouldn't be considered.
No, I got my metal, from my friends. Like when I was 14, I joined my first bands, and they were older kids, and I was doing metal bands when I was
playing.
So I was getting turned on to everything from Slayer to Metallica to King Diamond to Iron Maiden, listening to that stuff.
Sure.
But I got it from friends. And I don't remember if there were radio stations. I guess WZZO maybe, I think, was what was playing that kind of stuff back in the day. Of course, hair metal was freaking pop back then.
Right, like Cinderella.
Yeah.
Like
So
you must have was WNEW and WPLJ. You
that's
probably
it.
yeah,
That's
right.
it. Yeah. I think ZZO was a New York station, and PLJ and NEW were. Is NEW in New York or New Jersey?
Yeah, no, NEW and PLJ were both New York. And what's funny is a lot of the DJs on there are now DJs on Sirius, like Carol Miller, Vince Skelsa, a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Good. I'm glad they still have a job.
Yeah, right. As a DJ, nonetheless. Hey, man, what was your childhood like growing up?
Man, it was good. I think I was a little sheltered. I lost my brother at an early age, and I say sheltered. It's not that my parents didn't let me do stuff, but it may have been almost a self-sheltering. I just I stayed in my house and played my guitar when I wasn't, with friends or with a band.
That's interesting. I'm sorry about your brother.
Oh, it's okay, man. It's all right.
What? So you're pretty outgoing though, or you seem outgoing, or is it just like we got along?
No, man, I'm pretty outgoing.
Yeah.
I always have been, man. I don't like to be a bummer. I like to have fun, and I can stop talking if I need to.
No.
And I'll be the first to go, hey, am I talking too much? But I like to have fun, man. I like to have a good time.
Interesting though that you were kind of it sounded like you're almost introverted as a kid.
I don't know if I was introverted or just hyper focused. Two things: baseball cards and guitar. So I couldn't get my mind off them. I still can't get my mind off guitar, but I'll burn the baseball cards if I have to.
There you go. Hey, when did you start playing guitar?
I was just about to turn 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that happen? That's really young.
I don't know exactly how. I mean, my only recollection is I used to always jump around air guitar into Peter Frampton Comes Alive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember jumping around air guitar into that, and my folks bought me my first guitar, so it was kind of done from there.
Were your parents into music, or?
They listened to music, but they weren't musicians. There were musicians in, like aunts and uncles and my grandfather. They did music. No one did it professionally.
Right.
I'm pretty sure my dad couldn't sing a note.
Wow. What kind of work did they do?
My dad was a salesman. He was like everything from, I guess it would have been before I was born. He was selling safes. I think if I have the story right, and you have to give me a license to be wrong here, it's one of those stories you hear when you're younger and you regurgitate it. But I think my dad was selling safes and actually went to an install in the World Trade Center when it was being built. And he was telling me about many years ago how before it was finished, you could feel the sway when you're up in it, and it was pretty crazy. But he went everything from that to cars to, most of my childhood he was selling cars. So I know when I see a car salesman.
Yes.
I know when I meet one.
Not hard to not smell that.
Yeah, but my mom actually worked for M&M's and Haagen-Dazs and research and development and stuff. It's a wonder she didn't gain 200 pounds.
Yeah. So, okay, so you started playing guitar at 5. What was the progression? How did you get into? I took lessons, and honestly, the first thing I did professionally was with my guitar teacher. He played upright bass. His name's Scott Pensack, and he still resides up in Pennsylvania.
and we did a little jazz duo where he'd play upright bass and I'd comp chords and melody. And we did a couple retirement parties, I think, stuff like that. And,
that's a great confidence builder, though.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, and I was starting to write songs at the age of 14. And I was in my first bands at the age of 14. We never did a lot of cover songs because we always wanted to write our own stuff. And I think that was cool for me. I was with the older kids, so they were kind of in the same boat I was in. Where I think most 13 or 14-year-olds were just fumbling to learn songs, where I was like, well, yeah, I could learn that solo and I could play it, but they already did, so I want to write my own thing, you know, which I think bit me in the ass a little bit later.
Right.
You know, yeah, so that was the progression to teenage years, and then high school. I went to a private high school in Blairstown, New Jersey. It happened to be in my hometown, but it was mostly boarding students. But the music program there was amazing. I'm trying to think of all the teachers: John Arnett, Scott Pensack, Nelson Hill, Sam Roma. There were these cats that some of them were professional jazz musicians in the Delaware Water Gap. Some of them were from New York City. You know, they worked out there all the time. They were real cats. I think Nelson Hill was Phil Wood's protege, who was the guy that did Billy Joel stuff. And they were just amazing. And it was more of a college environment. And I got turned on to so much music. I went there as a guy playing in metal bands, but I had this record library of jazz and classic rock, and I had theory classes, and I had a jazz rock band to be in, and it was just a lot of fun, you know.
So so you were playing in bands, and then what happened after high school? But didn't you went to Nashville like shortly after high school? No. Yeah,
pretty close, man. I worked like a little day job in Blairstown for about a year, maybe, and not even. No, it would have been. It might have been a year and a half. I was 19, so I think I was 18 when I graduated high school. So it was probably a year and a half. And yeah, man, I was in a friend of mine. The first, I should rewind. First band I ever recorded with was in Pennsylvania, and we lost a bass player, and had who became my best friend was already. This is so out of order. Sorry. Anyway, bass player.
It's all good, man.
Came up, jumped in the studio with us. He became my best friend later. But he had already been in Nashville for a year or two. He was a couple of years older. He was in a Christian band as a hired gun bass player, but he had turned the manager on to our band. So that guy signed us as he wanted to break us as a rock band. And that's why we moved to Nashville.
Oh, wow. So you actually came to town with a recording contract.
Well, management
contract.
Yeah.
Is this manager still around? I mean, I have to say his name or anything. Is he still around?
I do not know, to be honest with you. I could tell you rumors I've heard, but I'm not going to go there.
No nostalgic trips, no nostalgic lunches with him or anything?
No. No. He'd probably try to hit me in the nuts again. He used to do that all the time, so I don't really want to go there.
Yeah, that's... So you moved to Nashville. You get a job at Woodland Studios. What was Woodland Studios?
Woodland was, at the time, in the early 90s, and before that, was one of the busy studios in town that people would frequent every day, you know. I remember, I'm trying to remember Kansas. I think Dust in the Wind was recorded there.
Wow.
I think Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, May the Circle Be Unbroken. Is that there? Is that the type?
Well, the Circle Be Unbroken is. I think it might be. I think it might be. I know the version, like the Allman Brothers always used to do that song, so I don't.
Right.
I know it's not the original.
Yeah, but there were classic records done there. It was a great studio. It actually had 3 studios in it, you know. And my job was to answer the phones. But the beautiful thing was there were a couple of beautiful things. I could work in any studio I wanted to at any time.
Wow.
As long as I had an engineer, any studio that was open, obviously. As long as I had an engineer and as long as I answered the phones. So
wow.
I could play my own music and experiment in a real studio environment, you know, by the age of 20, you know, and also the owner, Bob Solomon, who's still a friend of mine to this day, had a publishing company, and he used my friends and I or me and my friends. He used me and my friends. Correct my kids for that. To be the studio band, you know.
So okay, so when people needed guitar players or whatever, you guys would get the call.
Yeah, you know, but it didn't pay because we were answering the phones. That's
okay, so that was the deal. So you were basically getting free tuition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were almost musical interns.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well worth it. I mean, to get play on. Wow.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what. And here's the cool thing. I had this one thing happen to me. I finally was working for Dan Huff, which I still am nervous when I have to do that, you know, because it's Dan Huff.
Everybody is.
But, well, and I should rewind again. I get ahead of myself. Bob had this habit, you know, he really helped me cut my teeth as a guitar player, but he'd always be like, you need a good part and just do these 8-note things. And I'd say this to his face, so I don't care if he watches this. Just the 8-note. And I got to the point where I remember one day just being like, dude, I don't want to play. I just want to play what I want to play. And Bryan blew up at him, had a big old fight. Anyway, always ragging on me to play 8 notes. Finally worked for Huff. And, of course, you got to take this with a grain of salt. He's a very nice guy, and he pays compliments left and right because he's a nice guy. And not to say he doesn't mean it, but he said to me, you got the best 8 notes in Nashville.
Redemption.
And I was like, oh. Part of me was like, holy shit, man just complimented me. And the other part of me was like, he was right.
That's funny. So, okay, so you're basically the studio. So that was pretty much serendipity to walk into that situation like that, where you're brand new in town and now you're the studio guitarist in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's, and it's like, and I could say this to anybody that asks about music. It's like, and how you get there and how you navigate and how you grab success. It's like, I can trace every bit of movement back to who I was with, you know, and I can trace that all back to the first road gig I picked up playing for this guy named Harmonica Red, was where I met this drummer guy, you know, named Eric Darcy, who's one of my best friends now. We do this gig. He's living in an apartment next to this guy, Chris Stone, who works at the studio, Woodland Studios. And somehow we all end up meeting, and me and my best friend Justin get hired to work at the studio.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it was pretty crazy. Justin, the bass player in the band I moved down with. So it all ended up, you know, because that band broke up within 6 months.
Are you still in touch with all these guys?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
They'll all be at my wedding.
When is that?
In December.
That's on record now.
Yeah.
End of December. End of December?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. You want to get it in so you get a joint tax return? So you're playing it, you're doing your thing at Woodland, and you meet Big and Rich in there. They come in to record?
Well, no. What happened was, I forget exactly, again, a connection. I think I remember this. I had become friends with another band I was in, bass player. There's this guy named Tony Lucido, who's one of the top session bass players right now in Nashville. And we were in a band together for a little while. And his friend was the band leader for this guy named Kenny Alfin, who went by the name of Big Kenny, who had a deal on Hollywood Records. And he suggested us to be able to audition for his touring band. And so that's how I met Big Kenny. And I remember, and I think the reason that thought might be connected, or maybe you read it, connected with Woodland, is I remember sitting behind my desk at Woodland, because at one point, I think I was the studio manager at that point. I remember sliding Big Kenny's disc in and going, thank God. Because at that time, I was not going to play country music.
Right.
Country music to me was just not my scene. And I put in this record that sounded like Queen. This guitar player, Gary Burnett, produced the whole thing. It was one of the most amazing sounding records, you know. So that's how I met Big Kenny. We toured for about a month or two, and then they dropped him. About 6 months went by, and then him and I started writing and made the band Lovejoy. We did a couple of records, and how that, you know, he was best friends with John Rich. So through that and Lovejoy, I started playing on their demos, you know, so that's how the connection was made there. And John had the publishing deal and the funding. So him and Kenny would write, and he'd always have the publisher to pay for the demos, you know. So he was hiring like these 18 session musicians and sticking me in there. So that was kind of my start there. And that's how, and the way it became big and rich was we would do shows with Lovejoy. And you got to remember, Big Kenny is a very high energy, super focused, yet guy. You know, he's super focused, but he can be like squirrel, you know. And you know, he was the worker in that band, man. We should have all stuck with it. He was the guy going, we got to do this, we got to do this, and we were all like,
you mean in Lovejoy, you should have stuck with it?
Yeah, we were all like, man, it's gonna happen. You know, we're awesome, dude. Something's gonna happen. And where he was like, blah, blah, blah. And John Rich started to come sit in with us. You know, this is all happening simultaneously. The Music Mafia started, which was
what was or is the music? Is that was?
Yeah. Side note: there wasn't really Big and Rich yet. It was just this was an outlet for them to do their music in another light.
Okay.
And with all their friends, and you know, they were the guys that started it. With a few other guys, and I happened to be part of that, and it was fun, you know. But so it all kind of started to blend together, and when we did the Lovejoy shows, John Rich would come sit in, and Cowboy Troy would come sit in, and it was really fun, and it was a great time. But we were kind of stubborn young guys, and he was like, "This is Lovejoy, man. It's like a circus." And so pretty much it was Big and Rich, but it was a whole band.
Right.
And we all were guys that wanted to be in a rock band, you know, and no offense to John, who I love John and I love Troy. We didn't want a rock band with a country singer too and a rapping cowboy too.
Right.
So we and that wasn't the main reason we disbanded, but that and Kenny's energy level just blew us all away. You know, we just all went different directions, you know?
Yeah.
So Lovejoy breaks up 6 months later or so. Kenny calls. He's like, dude, me and John got a record deal. Can you imagine that? Me and my best friend got a record deal. Big and Rich. And I'm like, yeah, of course you did, because I quit. You get a record deal.
Right.
And they're like, you got to play on our record. I'm like, dude, I don't play country music. And they're like, exactly. Come play on our record.
So they wanted your thing.
Yeah, that's where it started. You know.
Very
so
cool.
I owe a lot, you know, of my career, you know, of how I got on the map to those boys, you know, and just the situation.
Yeah.
So, and they're great boys, and you'll hear stories about both of them, and I assure you they're true. but they're great guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, and not all the stories are bad. They're usually fun, but.
So, okay, when did you start writing? Because you said you were writing at 14, but, you know, when did you start getting recognition, I guess, for your writing? In that?
Well, no, it wasn't really until Mississippi Girl with John.
How did that come about?
I think he probably would have written it with Kenny, I think. But Kenny was not feeling good that day, and I think Kenny actually said, write it with Adam, man, see what he's doing. You know, he's a good writer. Yeah, I think that's how it went down. And so John walked up on the bus, and he's like, hey, man, I got this song idea. And he had a lot of it mapped out. I definitely had my input on it. And, you know, even at that point, you know, I had never written a lot of country songs, you know, and I'm still trying to learn how to write a country song the right way. And
why do you have to now? Unless you're trying to, I mean, if you're specifically trying to sell a country song.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a method, you know, or at least a formula, or it should sound like there was a formula.
Right.
Yeah, but no, that was kind of it, you know. That was the one. And honestly, I didn't even use that success to further my writing career. I use that success to further my playing career, because I actually got off the road with Big and Kenny. I love Jack Daniels.
Yeah, man.
I got off the road with those boys too. Hold, take 5.
Holy smokes.
Anyway, Big and Ritz, I got off the road with them to follow my session career.
Right.
So having that success as a writer gave me the financial freedom that if a couple days went by and I didn't have a gig,
yeah, you were okay.
It was good. That was back when songs made money. So.
Well, let me ask you this: you didn't, when you wrote this song, you didn't play on it. Was that weird, or that you knew that that's just how it goes sometimes?
That's totally normal.
Yeah,
totally.
that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, having had so much success with the song, there had to be something like compelling you to follow the music as opposed to following the muse, the writing. What did you just you wanted to just further your career? I mean, that's why you came there to play guitar.
No, you know what? I think still at that point, I was a guitar player at heart. I mean, there's part of me that I still have my own projects. I want to be an artist. I'm 43 years old. I'm still not giving up on it. I'll put you in my mindset after we finish.
Oh, no. You can't do. I can't go there. I'm not that strong. I'm not that strong. I'm too old.
Welcome to my mind.
Yeah, I can't.
All right.
I can't handle that.
No, when we finished Mississippi Girl, I went, well, that was an interesting exercise in writing a country song. I did not think in a million years she would cut the song. Frankly, I feel like I got really damn lucky. I was a songwriter, but I still followed my writing, but I did it when I could. I think I want everything. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I can do that session. Oh, but wait, I want to write that song. I don't think there was really a rhyme or reason. I think I just do what I do. I still do it now. It's like right now I feel like my focus is writing and producing. But like a dude I was just talking to today was like, yeah, I've been producing some stuff. Can you do some tracks for me? I'm like, well, yeah. Even though, there's part of me that's like, well, I don't really feel like it right now.
Yeah. Well,
but
is it hard? Because you're presented with a lot of opportunities, and like, I think everybody has that. It's hard to say no sometimes.
It is.
You're hustling. You're trying to hustle. You're trying to make some money.
Yeah.
You got a good work ethic, and you're like, you want to do everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard.
Well, and it comes from the beginning of things where your career is just starting, where you feel like you have to take everything or you're going to miss out. And you almost do. You have to do everything in your power that you can do, whether it pays nothing or minimal amounts. You have to do it to build your career.
Yeah.
So it's hard, even when I'm fine, I'm comfortable. It's hard to go, well, I don't need to take that.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
It's like you feel like, well, I better take it just so they don't forget about me, because you should see my session work in the last 6 years has gone from this to that.
Why?
But it's because I'm gone
on the road.
It's because I'm gone, and people get used to it, and new blood comes in. Younger guys that are great players come in, and it's just the nature of the beast. So. Someone like me, I may be in this mindset of, I really enjoy being on the road, and I enjoy working on projects for other artists and helping them and playing guitar in my own studio. And I don't feel like taking a session. But as soon as that call comes in for a session, I'm like, yeah, okay, I need to go.
How do you stay relevant if you're on the road? And you're not on like you're like Faith and Tim. How many days is their tour?
Well, this part is like at least 80 dates.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, that's a big tour.
Yeah, okay.
And half the time I come back, I go to North Carolina where my kids are. So I'm constantly moving.
So how do you stay relevant?
I've always stayed relevant by not paying attention. I've always stayed relevant by wanting to do something I've never done before. wanting to do something I've never heard before. And that gets harder and harder, the further you go. But that's kind of how I've stayed relevant. That being said, I should also say I'm very thankful to have a teenage daughter, because there's music that I've listened to that I probably wouldn't have listened to. That's probably in the present. That is probably what's kept me most afloat. At least I think so, because I hear what's modern and out there because of her. I may not be relevant if I didn't have her.
I get it.
Yeah.
I think that's, you might be the only human being on earth that ever uttered that word. I'm very thankful I have a teenage daughter. I mean, literally, I just got off the phone.
Talked to me a week ago.
Oh, well, I was just talking to Jeff, and we were like, a couple of, because my daughter's 17, she's pretty much out of it, and he's like, I got like a year and a half. Because his daughter's 15. I'm like, man, just hang in there. It's like really difficult. And I didn't have any sisters or anything, so I was very ill prepared for this.
Yeah, when we sit down in Florida and have an off camera, I'll tell you some stuff.
Oh yeah,
we'll trade stories.
Yeah. Oh, mine will win. I would bet. I would really bet. Okay, so what are you working on right now that you're like most excited about outside of the tour?
Man, I've got several things. I've got a band called Digital Brains, which is my rock trio with Corey Boys and Danny Falo. We are just having so much fun when we can get to it. It's hard, They both have young kids, and I have the tour, and so we do it when we can. Freaking love that. It's like, for me, my influences for that stuff is just like Foo Fighters and rock and roll and U2 and punk and just a whole bunch of stuff. My fiance and I have a duo, and I'm thinking, if you see my eyes moving, it's because I'm thinking, should I say the name yet? We've got an EP about ready to be mixed.
Oh, cool, man!
Right, and we're calling that Suncat, Sunkat. So I'm pumped about that. It's cool. It's just real, like Fleetwood Mac inspired, 70s rock inspired, but with us two singing.
Okay, so Suncat, Sunkat or CAT?
Yeah.
S-U-N-K. And so what? So this is like 70s, like.
Yeah, man. What's funny is it's funny where you never know where you're going to find inspiration. And there was one day I just picked up my mandolin, and I'm like, start getting a melody, and over I think a 2-week period of time, every time I went up to my girlfriend at the time, my fiance now, she had this great ranch up north of town, and we'd sit in her bedroom overlooking a river. It's the most beautiful setting ever. And for 2 weeks, we wrote. In 2 weeks, we wrote 5 songs just like that. And like, and they were all on mandolin. I was just like, hey, I got an idea. And we just
and unplanned. Was she a musician or?
Oh, she had a record deal 18 years ago. A band called Reno with her brother and some friends on Curb Records, and then she got offered this job as essentially a VJ at CMT, which she's still there. She's one of the correspondents there, but so she hasn't really tapped into it lately. I think she was doing a record for herself, before her and I met, as was I. I was doing the record I was doing for myself turned into Digital Brains. So but yeah, so she was a singer and is a singer, songwriter, very punk pop girl, yet the stuff we're doing is kind of Fleetwood Mac. If anything, honestly, if it had a genre, it would be country,
Oh, so you've finally written country songs?
Well, no, I write country songs all the time now.
Okay.
I have for years.
Okay.
That initial period when I wrote Mississippi Girl, like those couple of years there, I didn't follow it. I did once in a while, but what most people would have done would have been, they would have had that number one hit they would have stopped doing everything and they would have written every day.
Yeah, right.
I just didn't do that. I still tried to write country stuff, but it wasn't like every day. It was 6 sessions in a week and maybe 1 writing appointment.
Gotcha.
It just wasn't as important to me. So Suncat Digital Brains got a project called Project Ghost Outfit. That is Bill Lloyd. He was part of the duo Foster and Lloyd, and he's kind of got a cult following as a power pop legend in Nashville. And Tom Peterson of Cheap Trick on bass.
Oh, wow.
And our friend Keith Brogdon played drums on it, and Steve Marcantonio, who I think he was engineering on the last John Lennon session ever. I mean, this dude's been around and done a lot of stuff. And it's two parts away from being finished and ready to mix. So Tom's been on tour with Cheap Trick. I think Bill's working on his own record, and Steve takes his work when he gets it, and I'm on tour. So to get that record done has been hard, and that's gone on for almost 4 years now.
You say it's 2 parts away. What do you mean 2 parts?
We need to Tom needs to put a vocal on one song, and Bill needs to put a guitar solo on one song.
Oh, and everything is done after that.
And then it's ready to be mixed,
Oh, great.
And that started because about 4 or 5 years ago, Bill, Tom, and I all got together to write some music. And we ended up writing cool songs. So, so there's Ghost Outfit, there's Suncat, there's Digital Brains, and there's a band called Adair's Run that I'm working with right now, a country act that I'm helping develop and produce. So,
what do you like about that, producing?
I love it, man. I love, I think it's hard to say, man. It's just nice to, like, when I started creating music, I was able to be in my own mind and really, do whatever I wanted. And I've got these guys that are really talented, but respect me enough to let me go with it. That being said, I'm not that person that doesn't want to take anybody else's input, but it's nice to be at the helm of the ship, and that's it. I think I like, there's no pressure of, I need to satisfy anybody. I mean, I do need to satisfy the artist, but it's different. It's not, I'm working for somebody that's going to either hire or fire me. At this point, I mean, they could turn into a superstar band that may hire or fire me. Yeah. But at this point, we're working together. Yeah. It's like being in a band, but not having to be in the band. Yeah. That'd be the best way to say it. Yeah. It's like co-fronting a band with a singer, but not competing with them on stage.
I totally get that. What are they called? Adair?
Adair's Run. ADAIRSRUN.
So so you got Project.
The singer's got real unique. He's got a good sound to his voice. Guitar player's really good. The whole band's really good. They're all fun. Like if you go and see them play, you'll be like, okay, they're just having fun. They like rocking out. So
you got a lot going on. Suncat, Digital Brains, Adair's Run, and Project Ghost Outfit. Yeah.
It's cool. I'm having fun, and having a house with a studio in it, it's even better.
Yeah, your place is awesome.
Yeah.
What were some of the bigger surprises for you, like when you first started playing professionally, either about playing itself or about the business end of being a professional?
Well, what? That's interesting. You should say that how dispensable musicians are. I would say how we're really overlooked, not given credit. It's pretty sad. It's just weird, because we all do music. We all started because we wanted to be in a rock band. We wanted to be rock stars. We wanted to be recognized. We wanted the girl. We wanted the glory. We wanted it all. And then you get to be a studio musician and you have to go, I have to be happy with, I get to make music. Yeah. It's like, here's I digress. I'm not going to say. I could go deep on this. I could go deep, but that would be the answer to your question. I think that answers it.
Yeah. How dispensable you are, basically.
Yeah. Which is sad, you know.
Everybody pays tuition in what they're doing, and you've been doing this a long time. If you're open to sharing, what are like one or two mistakes you made and what are the lessons you learned from them?
You know, I think, you know, when you get my age, you look back and you go, wow, there's a lot I did that I didn't need to do. I could have spent that time with my family. You know, you get blind to that. You're so narrow-minded in making your career fly, you know. And even if people around you even believe in it and are cool with it, it's easy to be selfish, you know. I was telling my bass player in Digital Brains, you know, he just had a kid, and he's like, how do you balance, you know, family and music? I said, well, I'll tell you what, dude, you know, never sacrifice time with your family for something that might not be that important. You know, yeah, if it's your first opportunity to do a Keith Urban record, by all means, talk to your woman and be like, can we reschedule this dinner? But if it's a demo for John Smith, you know, don't go do the demo. Don't go play for nothing instead of doing that birthday party with your kid. You know, things like that. You know, I would say that.
Man, I appreciate you being so open with that.
Yeah.
So I have a question here, but I think you might have answered. If you can go back and give advice to your younger self, is that the advice you would have given? You know, relax more. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and also not be so paranoid about pleasing people.
Yeah,
I've spent a lot of time with anxiety. A lot of my years in the studio. This is the secret of the room full of the best musicians in the world. And I heard this from another musician. The secret is every musician in the room full of the best musicians in the world thinks they're the worst musician in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I wouldn't be as hard on myself. And I think that's kind of a true statement, except for some guys, you know. There are some confident guys out there, but I wouldn't have been as hard on myself. I spent so many hours in that chair going, oh my God, I hope I did. I can't think of something to play. I want to make sure I'm doing a good job, you know. And when it comes down to it, people hired you because they heard you do something that they liked.
Right. So you didn't need to have that extra.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to do anything that far off within yourself, you know. So that would be another thing. I'll just chill the heck out, you know.
In all fairness to you saying that, I look at your answer and say you should give yourself credit because you learned that 43. I didn't learn that till later.
Well,
so,
you know, and
not that I'm a fucking genius, don't get me wrong, by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that's good.
I'm very in touch. I've always felt pretty in touch with people's actions, and I think I could be my own best shrink if I would let myself, you know. But who wants to be?
Everybody's got their cross to bear.
I'd rather wallow in my whiskey and my pain, bro.
You're an artist.
Yeah, you know.
Let's talk a little bit about gear. In most of the videos, Adam, that I see you're playing, mostly Les Pauls. Is that your go-to guitar?
Not really, honestly. It depends. Lately, live, my go-to has been Gretsch's. They've been just singing.
Wow.
To me, they're just, you know. But in the studio, I definitely played a lot of Gibsons. My desert island guitar has always been my Melody Maker, which is the one I play with Digital Brains, which, you know, this thin mahogany. Like, hold on.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I mean, it's just, this is one of three, but
Adam's got an awesome studio, by the way. He's walking me through it. It's really cool.
So, like, I mean, it's so thin. And something about that thin wood.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. I thought that was a Les Paul Jr. It's a Melody Maker.
No, Melody Maker.
Wow, what kind of pickup is in there?
That one is a DiMarzio Super Distortion. But my other two have DiMarzio X2Ns, which are real high gain, powerful pickups. Sorry, my battery warning just went on.
Okay. Are you a DiMarzio guy, or you just said try these? Or?
Well, interesting story. The most interesting way I've ever acquired a guitar was my first Melody Maker, and it had the X2N in it. I was working at Woodland, and a friend of one of the engineers there, his name was Todd Odie. The friend's name was Todd Odie, not the engineer. He had this Melody Maker, and he just saw me as this kid that he liked, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to borrow this guitar?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sure." And I don't know how many years went by, or if it was a year, if it was months, weeks, whatever. I think it was just a year probably. He came back, and he said, "Hey, I want to get my Melody Maker back." And I said, "Okay." And I brought it to him, and he said, "I'll tell you what." He said, "You really like this guitar, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "You give me $1. And if you ever want to get rid of it, I'll give you the $1 back. And if not, you keep the guitar."
Holy crap.
And it had a DiMarzio X2N in it. And now I've got 3.
What a deal.
They're great guitars. So that was my desert island guitar, And I just, I love Fenders. I love all guitars. I'm a guitar player, and when you do sessions, you got to have different guitars for different sounds, and but now, interestingly enough, I'm kind of in that mode of, what, I've got 40, 45, 50 guitars spread around. I'm going, all right, let's get rid of some of the crap, like this wall back here.
Right.
That's all cheap stuff. That's
all crap.
It is. It's like, not crap, but just not awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get rid of it and just get like 4 awesome guitars.
Yeah.
It would be awesome,
You don't have a 335 you're looking to get rid of, do you?
Not that I'm looking to get. I just got rid of one a little while ago.
Well, I'm looking to get one, so keep your eye if you happen to hear anything.
Yeah, I will.
What's the difference between a Melody Maker and a Les Paul Jr.?
But you know what? They're pretty much the same, just a lot thinner.
The Melody Maker's thinner.
Yeah, it's thinner. It's just like the slab of wood, man.
Same shape, right? That's what I thought.
Well, for the double cut,
yeah.
I think they did single cut Melody Makers too.
Cool.
It's almost like half a junior or 2/3 of a junior.
Oh, it's that thin.
Yeah. I'd say 2/3.
That Gibson up there, it looks like a Gibson. It's a gold top. Is that P90s in there?
That's actually a good guitar, I should say. This thing sounds really good. This is a Godin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a really good guitar. So, P90s. But and it plays real nice, and it's light. It's really awesome. And when you're 43, light is a plus.
Light is a plus. I hear that, man. What is I see you with some, I think it's a black Les Paul. I've seen you in a few videos. What's the deal with that guitar?
That's a 78.
Oh, wow.
That was a crew guy was getting rid of it a couple tours ago, and our tech was getting it ready for him to sell. And I walked down and I said, I think I might know somebody.
Yeah, that's a nice looking guitar, man.
Yeah, it's a good guitar. It's a little heavy. I've got 2 Les Pauls that I really love, but they're too heavy. They don't sing to me. I've got probably 4 or 5 Les Pauls, but there's 2 in particular. I think I'm gonna sell and get one good one. I might even go up to Chicago Music and spend a day playing every custom shop one on the wall, and just trade these 2 in. So, because they're boat anchors.
Any cool or interesting stories behind how you acquired any of those guitars?
No, other than that Todd Odie story.
Yeah.
Melody. Yeah. That's the only one.
Who would you say your biggest influences are, guitar-wise?
Well, if I go back to my childhood, like Clapton, man. Clapton. I loved Clapton. I mean, I loved hair metal. I loved Vinnie Moore. I loved Yngwie Malmsteen.
Vinnie Moore.
Yeah. I loved it all. I really did listen to everything. Kerry King, Slayer, like all that stuff blew me away. Hendrix was awesome. It's like there was so much good stuff. But I think I think when I started to make the connection of I really want to do this was Clapton, Clapton and Frampton. So,
any particular Clapton record?
Just One Night. It's a live record.
Yeah, the yellow. I think it's a yellow cover. It's a double. Is that the double CD?
No, it's double. No, that's 24 Nights.
24 Nights. Yeah, okay,
which is great too.
Yeah,
great.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Just One Night I think has just him standing on the cover with his hand on the headstock of his Strat, standing next to him. My dad brought that home from the city for me, when I was a kid, and said, "You got to listen to this. Tulsa Time's the best rock and roll song ever." And I believe it.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you would be doing instead?
Instead of music, or
yeah.
Boy, I don't know, man. I'd probably go back to school. Like if like all of a sudden my career stopped, I'd probably like follow some path, maybe psychiatry or something.
Well, that is scary.
Yeah.
Well, they say the cobbler's kids never have any shoes, so it's maybe very appropriate.
Yeah. When we meet in Florida, I'll tell you about my friend who used to do a lot of drugs that's now a counselor.
Oh, yeah.
For that overdose.
But that's common. That's no. That's the pattern of narcotics. That's the pattern. Yeah, I've known many guys in recovery, and that's that's very common. Yeah.
No, I think that's what I'd do. Either that, or I'd just be a barista.
A barista. There you go.
I'd just make coffee. You
into coffee?
No, but it was my favorite of all the little jobs I had. I never had a real job, but barista was enjoyable, relaxing.
What's your greatest strength?
My brain. No. No, you know what? I don't know, man. I think just being able to get along with people. I think that's the greatest strength people need to be able to make a music career.
I pretty much consistently hear that when I'm talking to the top guys like yourself. That's the number one thing I hear.
Yeah, you just got to get along with people.
All right, other side, man. Biggest weakness. Sorry to make this sound like a job interview.
No, it's all right. What is it?
What's your biggest weakness?
Oh, biggest weakness. I just think that what we talked about before, being hard on myself.
Yeah.
I still do it. I still do it all the time.
Biggest business or personal win so far?
My fiance.
Oh man, make sure she listens to this when it drops.
Yeah.
See, honey, I need a new guitar.
Yeah, right. No, but shoot, it's been an amazing addition to my life. It's given me a lot of confidence. She's given me a lot of confidence I never had before.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
You're very candid. I really appreciate that, man.
No problem.
Do you have any hobbies or interests outside of music?
Guitar.
Guitar is actually in music, Adam.
I haven't been into it in years, and it's the worst thing to do, being a guitar player. And I'd love to get back into it, and that's martial arts. I love martial.
Yeah, that probably isn't good.
No.
For guitar playing.
No, it's not great. But, in defense, the one time I hurt one of my fingers, I was still able to play. It was this finger, so these three still worked.
Yeah, you don't need the pinky, really.
Not much.
Favorite place you've traveled?
Favorite place I've traveled? That's tough. I got to say, does it have to be with music?
Has to do whatever you want, man. This is like
I'd say Bristol.
Back to where your girlfriend's, your fiance's from. Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you? I honestly,
just that whole trip. I mean, we also went to Bath.
So the memories of the trip, not necessarily the location. Yeah. It was everything.
The location too. Pangborn, like her old manager, Harry Barter, who's, if you look up his name, you probably find out who he's managed. He's managed a lot of people.
Man, you're good with names. You have a good memory.
Only when I'm drinking.
Keep it up.
But so we take a train to Pangborn, and we walk out, and this train station's about, as big as, I don't know, as big as a tour bus. That's about it,
Yeah.
And we walk out, and there's Harry. He's mid to late 70s in his Bentley, waving at us, and he's got his. Hold on one second. Anyway, we get off the train, and Harry's waiting for us in his Bentley. He's waving at us. We get in the Bentley, and as soon as we pull out of the train station, we come down onto the main road, which is 2 lanes along the River Thames, and we go about a half a block. It's not even a block. You can't call it a block. And he said, that house right there, that's where Led Zeppelin was formed.
Holy crap. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was Jimmy Page's house when he was a kid.
That's wild.
So stuff like that. I really love stuff like that. I love England.
That was cool.
First time I ever went there, I felt like I could, see the ghosts of Led Zeppelin past walking out of doors. It was like.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't...
like there's Bonham. Whoa.
You need to drink a few more Jacks to see Bonham, I think.
Uh-huh.
All right, man. 2 more questions, and then we got to go. What's your one unanswerable question? The one question you always seem to be asking yourself.
Why not?
Why not? Give me a context.
I always seem to have the answer to it, though. No, you know what? Like when I look at Digital Brains, like I have spent years going, I want to do my own thing, and I'll write this music and I'll record it, and I'll never do anything with it. Why haven't I gone further? Why haven't I tried harder? Why?
Okay.
Why have I not gone there? Like Jason Aldean and I were offered a deal as a duo, and I turned it down. I was the one of us that didn't want to do it.
Wow.
I've been offered, I went to talk to a producer and the head of A&R at a label about being a producer and getting, some work with artists on their label. And it was the president, I guess, of this label said to me, he goes, sorry. The president of the label says, well, what about your stuff? And I'm like, I guess, why am I my own worst enemy? That would
man.
That would be the question, But
I bet you will answer that when you come down here.
I think the part of the answer is I already make a living making music. Why push it?
No, that's not the answer. That's a bullshit answer. No, that's a bullshit answer.
Yeah, but honestly, right now, at this point in my life, I would take it. I would do it. That's the difference between me now and through my career. And having confidence now and giving a little less of a shit.
Good.
Right now, if somebody said, you want to do something with Digital Brains, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it right now.
Good, man.
But, so.
One last question. What's your definition of happiness?
Wow. I think my life, it's just being able to do what you love, and having people that believe in you and support you and having your loved ones know that you love them, I think that's happiness, man. I'm as long as I can be I don't know, as long as I can do what I do, as long as I can be stress free and do what I do.
Play guitar for a living. Yeah,
just make music, be able to express myself, I think that's the key.
Well, thanks, man. Don't hang up.
Yeah,
listen, what do you want to promote? Let's promote you because I want people to listen to you, get turned on to you. Digital Brains.
Yeah, Facebook.com/Digital Brains, the band.
//
Or backslash.
All right, well, you could do backslash, but if you want to get Digital Brains, do // Digital Brains.
Suncat is yet to come, but that will be Facebook.com/Suncat Official.
Awesome.
Suncat with a K.
Project Ghost Outfit.
Yeah. That will be www.ghostoutfit official, I think. I'm not quite. It might be Ghost Outfit, the band. I'm not sure.
Well, check out.
I just worked on this stuff yesterday.
Enter Adam Shoenfeld, Ghost Outfit. His last name is SHOEN.
You won't find anything yet, but you're gonna.
FELD. Well, this won't drop for a little bit, so by that time it'll be out. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Man, I can't thank you enough for your time. You're really cool.
Man,
I'm looking forward to hanging when you're in Florida. Everybody, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. Thanks again to Adam Shoenfeld. Peace, everybody. Go to Everyone Loves Guitar and sign up to get notified about future episodes. Now, be nice. Go play your guitar and have some fun. Until next time, I am out. Peace, y'all. Thanks again, Adam. We hope you enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe to the Everyone Loves Guitar podcast, and you can do this online at everyonelovesguitar.com or on iTunes. And if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star positive review. The more 5-star reviews we get, the higher our show ranks, and higher rankings mean we get to continue speaking with cool, interesting guests on our show. We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, keep playing your guitar and have fun making music.